right? They have to apply for a student loan, and they will just once they have finished it, they will just have to once they finish their undergrad degree, right? The moment they came out of school, they're facing half a million loan, student loan. I would be so stressful. I would feel so stressful. Yeah, don't involve. Yeah, exactly. Still, I really like the fact that you're using those like words people can understand, but you're not using the exact words, right? You know the rules in here. That is really great. Yeah. So people just pay attention to Stone's comment here on Red Note and just do everything according to what he said. Okay, you guys understand anything about that? So that is fine. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, rejoin now. The sun is back. Yeah, good, good. Yeah. And also, like some people, I couldn't imagine myself, say, for example, if I'm currently studying in China, and the moment I graduate from my university, I'm already 3, 4 million renminbi in debt, then like it's impossible for me to go to those like elite schools here in China, right? 我觉得中国宝宝们应该非常认同，如果说你上完大学以后就要背负了3、400万人民币的债，普通的人应该是不会想去上大学的。我觉得这个压力可能对我来说就太大了，我是不会想说，OK，我假设我要上清华、上北大，对吧？上复旦、上交大，如果是上这些好的大学，我一旦上了，我大学我就必须要申请3、400万人民币的这个贷款，然后我一毕业以后，我就要开始还这3、400万人民币的贷款，那可能我就不会想要去上这些大学。Right, so like I think like many Chinese people can understand that also like for American people, right? Like the moment you get out of university, you are already half a million in debt, then you have to work for how many years to earn the money back, right? I really seriously don't. Yeah, 是要多久才能赚回来? So unless you're working for those like really good jobs, right? In those like investment banks, right? We shared about how much money people can earn working in an investment bank, right? However, a job position in those top investment bank is extremely hard to get. I guarantee you, like large tech company and those kind of large investment bank, these are the companies, these are the positions that pay you pretty high. However, I know how hard it is to get a job in there. Yeah, because I've been there, right? I've been there. I know that's very hard. So like even though like you work for a large company, like those kind of things you guys said, right? Investment bank or like large tech company, you still have to work at least 3 years to pay back the student loan, right? Which basically means for the very first 4 years, you are having no income for yourself. You're basically just paying back all the loan. And to be honest, if you're not in a good economy condition, right? For example, it's like a downward cycle, then it would be so hard for you to find a job, right? So I back then I remember, so when I graduated from university, also there were some like financial crisis, something like that, and also was not easy to get a front office role. So for those of you guys who do not know, okay, so for example, inside the investment bank, there is a front office and mid office and back office. Usually the front office people earn the most amount of money. So everyone would want to go to the front office because that is where you're making revenue and that's why you're able to earn a lot of money. And that is like so hard to get a job in there. There are just so many jobs opportunities up there, right? And also usually during financial crisis, then those opportunities are even rarer, right? So like so many people every year graduated from those elite schools and all of them just want to get those positions and there are just very limited number of positions. So that's why like after graduation facing half a million loan or 3 to 4 million renminbi kind of loan, and you are so stressful to look for a job that is able to earn back the money in a short period of time, right? So I feel like working for 4 years, 5 years to repay the loan is good. It doesn't really make sense if you have to work for 10 years or even 10, 20 years to pay back your student loan. Then what's the point of, applying for a really big loan and going to the university, right? Why not just pretend you're a student, just sit in the class and, you know, that is really hard. So the degree itself is too expensive. So somehow that's why I feel like in my opinion, the kind of system in the US is a little bit corrupted. in a sense that if elite school is only available to people who are from rich family, you design this kind of system where the tuition fee is affordable only by people from rich family, right? So you designed the system in the sense that tuition fee is so high that ordinary family people cannot afford to study in the elite school. You're creating a big social problems, right? You're actually increasing the wealth gap, because we all know, right? We all know that the better school you go to, usually there's a higher chance that you can get a better job, right? Then the wealth gap is becoming bigger and bigger, right? So that's the kind of scenario, the problems that I think US is having right now, right? They have like a very big wealth gap problems, and the gap is becoming wider and wider now. And these are the basic reasons why you are having a bigger, wider kind of wealth gap problems, right? 好漂亮啊，宝宝，谢谢你。Elisa 还是 Alisa？Yeah, yeah, guys, follow me please if you haven't done so. Let me see what's the question you guys have. Okay, yeah. Mhm. If I want to explore China countryside for a month, do I need a visa? So it depends on where you are. If you are from, for example, countries like USA, American, you can come to China using a transit visa, which means you don't need to apply for a visa in advance. You just show to the custom in here that you're transiting in China. You can stay in China for 10 days. And within the 10 days, you could explore, I think, 24 provinces in China, including some countrysides. Okay. Yeah. So I remember wonder why president tax cut on rich. Yeah, somehow I feel like the society there and the US has this kind of bigger issue of wider wealth gap, right? And you start to see many things that is designed to increase the wealth gap, to make the rich people richer and poor people poorer, something like that. So, to be honest, that's not a very good thing. Not sure if that is considered to be a very political topics, but somehow that's the case right now, right? So we were having this discussion about, yeah, some middle class people also can afford it. Depends on which states, I suppose. Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, like, if middle class people can also afford it, if they are, they plan to study in state-owned university, or you're saying that, well, I also am curious, like, is it also okay for middle class people to afford sending their children, or for the children to study in like those elite school? Like for example, like we said, 400,000 tuition fee, 4 years university, for 40,000 US dollar, 40,000 US dollar university fee for 4 years is something affordable for middle class people in the US. Like I would be so curious to know, is that something affordable? Because that is kind of the fee that those elite school would be charging, right? Would charge people, right? Yeah. 我刚才在询问说，我说你说一些中产阶级，美国的中产阶级其实也是可以支付，也是可以就是承担小孩去上那些大学的费用的。那是不是那些精英大学？因为精英大学1年的学费就要将近10万美金，那你4年就是40万美金，对不对？Nitrix, please read my question. What your question? Could you please send it in again, my friend? Could you please send it in again? Yeah, like I was asking my American friends, okay, American friends, can you guys tell me, like for middle class, especially for someone who said that middle class 蔬菜要少点盐, vegetable needs less salt. This friend who says some middle class people can also afford it. Like for middle class, it's pretty common for middle class people to afford a tuition fee of like 100,000 US dollars a year, because that is the kind of average tuition fee for elite schools, right? Elite schools like Ivy League schools, right? MIT, those kind of schools, kind of tuition fee, right? So for those, like tuition fee is also something middle class people can afford. Or you're just talking that middle class people can afford university, meaning that they can attend university paying a 10,000 US dollars, because 10,000 US dollars is so different from 100,000 US dollar, right? When you say that middle class can afford a 10,000, 20,000 US dollar tuition fee, well, I say like, okay, yeah. So I believe yes. But what about those elite school? Tell me in the comments, my friend. I'd love to know that. Yeah. My question is, can you explain the rich people getting richer and the poor getting poorer? Yeah, sure. That is a very big question. I'll come back to the question later on. Okay. So your question was flooded. Yeah. If parents are both working in big tech, like software engineers, yeah, but then I mean, these are not considered to be like average middle class, right? I would consider those people to be relatively upper middle class, at least, right? If you have both parents working in large tech companies, right? Like software engineers earning a pretty decent salary. So these are not like middle class. These are like upper middle class, right? So still, I feel like for ordinary middle class people, it would be pretty hard to get yeah, that's not middle class. That's what I feel too. That's like, well, you could also call them middle class in the sense that they haven't really reached the upper class. They may also be considered to be middle class, but when you, because middle class is the biggest population, right? The richest is like so few. There is a saying that like 2% of the people own like 90% of the world wealth, something like that. I don't remember the exact data, but like you definitely have like very few like extremely rich people that is not considered to be middle class and they have like so much wealth, right? And then so for also there's some people who are like really poor, right? And the rest of the people are all just middle class. So middle class is a huge population. It's a big number of people. So inside middle class there are upper middle class, mid middle class, and lower middle class, right? So like, so for upper middle class people, that is what you're talking about. So upper middle class, if you just work, they just work hard enough, there's a chance they can just reach a little bit upper than the upper middle class to be inside the rich class, right? So that is not considered to be middle class at all. So still, right? So if you're saying that those are the people who are able to afford their children to study in universities in Ivy League schools and able to afford a tuition fee of $90,000 a year or like almost $10,000 a year, then that means that majority of the middle class people cannot afford it. Cannot afford it, right? As a full-time Microsoft employee, you're eligible for up to 10,000 per year in what? Yeah, in tuition reimbursement. Okay, then that means that if you are able to get into those tech companies after you graduate from your university, then there's a chance that your company will help you to reimburse part of your tuition fee. Wait, so I need you to tell me a little bit more about that. So say for example, let's do it. So say for example, if I went to a university that is having 100,000 US dollar, let's just round it up, okay? Let's just round it up. 100,000 US dollars of tuition fee a year, okay? I went to an elite school. The tuition fee is like so expensive, right? So 4 years, that is totally 400,000 US dollars, 400,000 US dollars. So you're saying that if I work for Microsoft, right? 40万美金. If I work for Microsoft for example for like 20 years, then they will able to reimburse half of the fee, right? Every year is 10,000, then 20 year is 200,000. So by working for Microsoft, then they will be able to reimburse my half of my tuition fee. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Mhm. The thing is, there are tons of grants available to help lower middle class and lower class to cover. Really? Really? Are there lots of grants that can help like lower middle class to cover those tuition fee? I'm correct. Okay, thank you, my friend, about that. But like for some for a Tiger, like so my friend Tiger said that there are tons of grants available to help lower middle class and lower class to cover the extremely expensive tuition fee. My foreign friends, can you guys tell me, is that true? My American friends, could you please tell me if that is true? Okay, so that is true. So some people said yes. My understanding that it's usually not very easy to apply for grants because it's so competitive. My understanding about grants is these are not easy to apply or these are not like very big amount kind of thing. Yeah, Chris said that's not true, right? I like my understanding is very same as Chris. I also feel it's not so true. Maybe there are many grants out there like you could apply to cover your tuition fee. Somehow I don't think it's like very easy to apply, and the amount of those grants might not be very high. Yeah, there are scholarships, but I don't mean how many are available. Yeah, so there are definitely scholarships, but the scholarships are not. enough to cover majority of the tuition fees. So it might be, I feel like if it's able to cover half of your tuition fee, that is already considered to be a pretty decent amount, a pretty high amount of grants or scholarship. That's the kind of feeling I have. But I mean, like, if you are looking at the tuition fee of 100,000 US dollar per year, like let's just say 70,000 US dollar per year, right? Covering half of it, you're still facing 35,000 US dollars of tuition fee every year, and that's still a lot. That's not still not enough for middle class people to afford, right? So I mean, easy to apply but hard to get. But I mean, like, if you cannot get it, then what's the point of applying, right? What's the point of applying if you cannot get it, right? So like, there's no point for us to look at like whether it's easy to apply, right? It's like the only thing we need to look at is whether it's easy to get or not, and it appears that it's like really hard to get, right? 啊，好看哈。麦麦，如果喜欢这个耳环的话，可以去我的小清单看一下，小清单里边是可以买到这副耳环的。嗯哼，Yeah. So that's why like we were saying that the education system between like East West is so different, and like it's so hard to get it to so okay, so this comes back to our my friend's previous question about like the richer become rich become richer and poor become poorer, right? So this is the first thing you see behind all that. You know, if you we start from zero, right? We start from zero. Like when you what is one sign when you start to see the society is having a very stagnate. What is it? Stagnate or stagnant? I think it's stagnate. Yeah, like a very stagnant kind of social ladder, right? Like the rich can always stay in the rich, like the poor can only stay in the poor. There's no way for them to climb up the social ladder and be in the higher social class. Like one of the thing behind that is like we said, stagnant. Okay, thank you, my friend. So that is like what we're just discussing, right? So for example, if you start to have all those higher education only available to those rich people, right? You start to set the whole game like you're making tuition fees so high up to a point that only the rich families can afford to send their children to get education in university. Then that's the start of everything, right? That's the start of wealth gap, right? Then that's the start when you start to, you know, because the kind of resources, education resources, not so fair, right? Education resources, like when you get better education, that you become like smarter, right? You have better opportunities to work in those large tech companies like investment banks and earn a higher salary. And also when you're attending schools and you have a better connection networks than other people, and these kind of networks eventually will also help you to do better business when you come to the society and then earn like more money. So that's like the virtuous cycle, how the virtuous cycle starts, right? How the virtuous cycle starts. Yeah. Rewarded 30,000 combined after all of that. What do you mean? Like scholarships from the school I went to, an Ivy League school, and they paid for everything? Oh, really, Alex? Then you must be really talented. Like that's how you're able to get like scholarships from the school, and they pay everything for you. To be honest, like I'm pretty sure there are not many people like you. It's not like everyone are just like you, Alex, who are able to apply for a scholarship and successfully get it and then pay for everything. I'm pretty sure it's not like that. Yeah. So that's why, like, for majority, unless you are extremely talented, you could prove to the school that you are worth the investment, that they should just give you all the scholarships to help you cover everything. Otherwise, I don't think that is like easy. Yeah. Went to Shanghai last week. I was surprised that some youngsters didn't know English, but some spoke very well. Wait, why do you think that is surprising? I mean, you come to China, for sure, like there are people who don't know English. That is for sure. Why is that something like very surprising, my friend? Wait. Okay, so overall speaking, Shanghai is already considered to be the kind of city inside China that speaks, well, best English compared to the rest of the cities in mainland China. Still, overall speaking, I wouldn't consider mainland China to be the country that is able to speak very good English. Some people do, or like they could understand English because every one of us studied English when we were little since primary school. However, somehow, like if we didn't practice a lot, like many Chinese people may not be able to understand it and speak it. Somehow they might be able to like read it or something like that. So overall speaking, you cannot have this expectation that everyone of us here can speak very good English. Just don't have those kind of expectation. Okay, so maybe Hong Kong, yes, if you go to Hong Kong, many people there speak very good English. Majority of the young people can speak English pretty well, because I also shared multiple times in my live stream, Hong Kong was previously colonized by UK. Okay, so it was previously run by British government, so that's why like lots of the school had English education, and many things were written in English, and some of their roles were even translated from English names. So yeah, we study English in public school. We study English everywhere. So it just depends on the city you're in. For example, here in Shanghai, when I was little, I started studying English since the age of 10 at third grade. And my friend told me, for example, she's in Dalian, and they started learning English at grade 7, eighth grade, seventh grade. So like different cities would have different beginning age to learn English, because English is one important subject in our university entrance examination. So you have to score high in English in order to get to the top university here in China. So that's why for all the schools here in China, they teach English. Okay, they teach English. It's just that, well, many Chinese people are said to be very good at written English. For example, they can read and write. Somehow they're not very good at speaking and listening. Okay, because they're not exposed to the English speaking environment. Everyone's basically just in China, right? So they study Chinese, they study English for exams, not for communication. So that's basically what happened. Okay, so back to this question about this wealth gap social phenomenon, right? So some people asked about that, and we were discussing about that, right? So this kind of education problem was the very first step, and then you started to have some other problems as well, right? She then is very close to Hong Kong. What are you saying, my friend? What are you saying? Okay, yeah. 我刚才在讲，用中文稍微讲一下吧。我刚才在讲说呢，我觉得就是说，其实你把这个在美国学费是非常昂贵的嘛，我们刚才已经探讨过了。无论你是公立学校还是非常优异的那些常春藤私立名校，它的学费都非常昂贵。但是当你的学费变得如此昂贵的时候，就会开始造成一些社会问题了，对吧？就造成一些社会问题了。因为只有有钱家的人可以去到这些最好的学校，那么教育资源分配是不公平的，那最后的问题就会导致这个财富差距拉大，因为只有有钱的人他才能去上到好的学校，才能因为他的好的教育背景获得好的高收入的工作、好的人脉然后赚到更多的钱，那就会造成一个非常恶性循环的一个事情，right? So that's basically what's going on there in the US. That's what I feel right now. And also, many other things that's also happening, right? So I feel like right now, like people also ask, hey, is that a phenomenon here in China? And I said, I feel like we were pretty careful with that. Like I think like we are like really careful when it comes to those kind of things. So we have tried really hard to make like education resources to be a fair resource. Okay, so for example, like I said multiple times, our best universities are usually public universities. So first of all, it comes to our like the college entrance examination. So to make everything fair, so everyone wants, if you wants to get into the top universities, then you have to attend college entrance examination, and basically everyone just attend the very same college entrance examination. So no matter which family you're from, if you want to study in the university here in China, you just have to attend the college entrance examination. There's no way for you to get into the best university without attending it. And like the kind of exams everyone attend is very same. So from that sense, to be honest, even though I have criticized the system before, however, from that sense, I have to say it is pretty fair. It is pretty fair. Okay, guys, follow me please, you haven't done so. Okay, follow me please, you haven't done so. So from that sense, it's pretty fair, right? 就我们现在想一下，高考的这个系统本质上来讲，它还是很公平的。So I know that, for example, in the US and in UK, in many of other countries, for students to get into the top universities, then you have to first of all attend an exams, which is GMAT or actually SAT, right? For in the postgrad degree, then it's GMAT or GRE, right? You do need to attend written exams, but on top of that, they value highly on many other stuff. You don't need to score really high on those kind of exams. If you can prove yourself your other capabilities, for example, you can perform very well in an interview, right? And also you write a really decent, really good personal essay, personal statement. So they value most those like very objective kind of things, right? Subjective, sorry, very subjective kind of things as well, right? So if you have those kind of systems here in China, then there are so many loopholes for you to take advantage, right? So say for example, here in China, if we no longer have those college entrance examination, or we still have it, it's just that the college entrance examination is not like the only determining factors. There are so many other determining factors to decide who can go to a university and who cannot. I can imagine there are so many people would then want to just climb down this loophole and take advantage of that for sure, right? If you say that here in China, every year so many students graduated, and then if they whether they are able to get into a good university not only depends on how high they score in the university entrance examination, also depends on whether they are able to write a good personal essay and personal statement, and also whether they are able to perform very well in an interview, university admission interview, right? So I'm pretty sure many people will just take advantage of that, right? Because these are very subjective. Whether a person writes a good personal statement or not, you seriously don't know, right? Some people think that it's a good personal statement, some people can think it's not. If there is someone who can decide it is like the only thing that's subjective is your beauty. Thank you. Truth and no, right? So if you can have someone to decide this person to come to the to admit this student to the university based on this personal statement, right? So if you see a student and some students just bribe the teacher, and the teacher, you could just secretly got bribed, right? Because you can just claim this one statement to be a really nice statement. You can also claim this statement to be a shitty statement. It's just up to you, right? And also when it comes to interview performance, also very same, right? You can say, oh, this person is doing great in interview, that person is not, right? You can just do all those kind of subjective judgment. Then the system is not going to be fair, right? This is not going to be a fair system. So thinking from that perspective, well, I kind of understand like the reason now, like why like China has this university entrance examination, because by having everyone basically just attending the very same exams, nobody knows what's gonna be the. Okay, so also very interesting things for people who do not know, here in China, for the teachers who are gonna write the exams, the questions. So they were somehow locked. They were locked up 1 month before the university entrance examination. So they have to design the exam papers, right? They have to think about what's the questions for this year. For the entire month, they're not allowed to talk to their parents, to their families. They must just stay in a very small room and then just do everything like that. Basically, just like in jail, something like that. Yeah. And then, yes, oh yeah, yeah, right. Everyone visit my store, which is alchemia.love. Exactly. Yeah. So that is our university entrance examination system compared to the West. So there are always like pros and cons, right? I have also discussed about that before, right? For example, for the West, if you have personal statement, you have interview, then you don't miss students who are very talented in one way. Somehow they're not very good at some other places, right? For example, if you have this all college entrance examination, basically means that you have to score high in every subject. If you're not able to score high in one subject, then there's no way for you to attend the best university. So that's why, like, you know there are pros and cons, right? There are pros and cons in there. And also because like everyone is selected based on how high they're able to score in the college entrance examination. So when we were having our education, everyone was focusing so much on exams. Like it's so important to score high in the exams. Like the skill sets we have for attending exams is more important than understanding and absorbing the knowledge itself. So there are like pros and cons. However, because China is a very big country with so much population, right? Every year you have so many students graduating from senior high school and need to attend this university examinations to get into the top universities, right? So somehow you need to find the most efficient way and also relatively more a fairer way. Somehow that seems to be the best solution. Yeah. Hmm, hmm, yeah. It will require some malicious intent to not offer that, offer when it benefits all. Yeah, exactly. I kind of agree. Yeah. So let me see. What's the other questions? Yeah. Americans need to respect other cultures considering our broad array of cultures. That is so, so true. Yeah. Sounds very efficient. So nowadays, like in our college and university entrance examination, they have actually designed the whole thing in a very routine way. So for every year, at what month, then students need to do what, then the examiners need to do what. It's like a very smooth and very efficient system from like the beginning of the year till like June, July, when students need to attend the exams, and then afterwards the results are out and everyone can see which university they can get to, and they will then start to go into the university. So nowadays, like we still start to have this kind of problems, right? It sounds to be a very fair system, like everyone basically just attend the very same universities, right? Somehow, well, if you get better education resources, then also like there's a higher chance for you to score higher. Remember when we were little, or when like university entrance examination was first back to normal, right? I also shared yesterday there was a period of time in Chinese history that university entrance examination was forbidden. It was somehow returned to the public, that anyone can attend it. Something around the year of 1980 or 1978, something like that, right? It was back to normal, right? Everyone can attend university entrance examination. And somehow, when people attend this entrance examination at the very beginning, you started to see that like many um, people from very poor family was able to be the number one in university entrance examination in some provinces. 我记得以前小的时候就看到很多的这个高考的状元都是来自于非常贫穷的家庭或者贫穷的村落，对吧？Just because they study extremely, extremely hard, that is how they are able to get number one in their province when it comes to university education, college entrance examination, right? 大家是不是记得小时候就记得看到很多都是贫困生，结果因为真的非常努力学习，所以变成了高考状元，很多都是这样的。Or like you would say that those number one, those championship of university entrance examination students are from very poor families. Pretty common to see, or from like ordinary families. However, nowadays many people, you start to see like many number ones are not from ordinary families. Many of them are from like very affluent family, very rich family, and the reason behind that is because the families are very wealthy. That's why they are able to, just have the best teacher to come home and teach their children, right? And the children get access to the best education resources, so that's why they become smarter. They're able to score higher in those education, in those like exams, and that's why they can become the number one. So even though our system is already considered to be so fair, still, when you have those kind of wealth difference, right? Still, things like that would happen, right? Score high doesn't always mean great potential and talents. You're right about that. You're right about that. So I also observed one thing. So I also shared multiple times, right? I did my undergrad in Shanghai Jiaotong University, right? I did my undergrad in Shanghai Jiaotong University, which is considered to be one of the top university here in China. And then when I was in the university, I noticed there are many students coming from other provinces, and they were definitely considered to be the most excellent students in their own province. They definitely need to achieve very high score in order to get this opportunity to study here in Shanghai Jiaotong University. And I also do notice one thing, which is like many of them are really good at exams, but they are not good at many other things. They're not good at many other things. So, like for example, I also shared before, like I also considered that the education resources back then when I was little was not so fair, right? Because they do allow more Shanghainese people to get into local students to get admitted to top university here in Shanghai compared to students from other provinces. So like for example, compared to other provinces, like you don't need to be like extremely excellent, score extremely high to get into university. However, for some other students, right, for their provinces, there are maybe only like two, three people across the entire province of 10 million people. In order to, you have to really be the top two, top three, in out of a 10 million people like province in order to study here in Shanghai in our top universities, right? I also explained about that, right? So I noticed that, so for those kind of students, they really started study really hard back then, and they were so great at exams, but somehow that is something, only thing that they're good at. They're not so good at expressing themselves. They were not so good at of making friends with others. Like many people just don't have many other skills because you just have that amount of time, right? You just have that amount of time. You have to spend the time wisely, right? So for example, if you want to have like a great education opportunity, then you have to spend all of your time basically studying, not spending any of the time doing any other social activities to sharpen your other skills, right? So that's basically what happened. But of course, inside the university, many of them then started to realize this kind of disadvantage they had. Then they started to attend many social activities, try to train their all sorts of skill sets, and then try to be as well rounded as possible, because when you really get into the society, that's the time you start to notice that score is actually the least useful thing, right? It's the most useless thing, right? It's no matter how high you're able to score in your senior high school and in the university days, as long as you are into the society, everything else starts to matter way more than just the exam scores, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. 中考只有50%的学生能上普通高中考大学，剩下的50%只能去读职业学校就业。哦，是吗？这个数据我还真的不知道，Christy，这个我还真的不知道有这样的一个数据。是现在是吗？Yeah. Yeah, because back then when I was little, I just felt like everyone around me was able to get to into university. Like many people were able to get into senior high school and then university. Yeah, I did not know that only half of the people can go to senior high school and then university afterwards. I didn't really realize that. Yeah. Mhm. Are the skills schools very crowded? Well, you tap into a place that I don't have much knowledge about, but maybe we can ask people in here. 有没有谁对于职校、技校这一块比较了解的？呀，现在中考更难了，需要分流一部分学生哈啊，对，好像是这样的，我也听说现在变成这样子了，好像中考也更难了，高考也更难了，是吧？很多家长现在就特别的焦虑，特别的焦虑，因为好像我们那个时候去考高中、考大学相对比较容易一些，可能那个时候国家非常鼓励大家去追求更高的高等教育，但是现在似乎整个方向有点发生变化了，Yeah. Yeah, somehow like it's quite different nowadays. Yeah, everything is. Yeah, I'm watching you from Brisbane, Australia. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Daniel. Yeah, always good to find an English speaking page. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, have you followed me? Guys, follow me, please, if you haven't done so, okay? Follow me, please, if you haven't done so, okay? Thanks, is. Yeah. Okay. So, like Christy was sharing that nowadays, like more and more people are not able to just go to senior high school. So I think the reason behind that is every year you have so many university students graduated from university, and there's just not that many job opportunities out there. So there is a big unemployment problems, big unemployment problem. So one way of solving this problem is to lower people's expectation. So somehow for our parents and also for ourselves, right, we have already studied so many years, attended university and become a very good university students. The expectation on ourselves is that I should just get a very decent job and a pretty decent salary. That I am a university graduate, I'm undergrad. I am undergrad, right? If I am an undergrad degree student, there's no way for me to be a waiter, waitress at a restaurant as a full-time job, right? I for sure will have to work inside a big company as their employee, earning a pretty decent salary. That is the general perception, right? So people start to have a very big expectation on themselves. 1年近1000万毕业生，我看数据都吓一跳啊，对吧？是吧？Someone was sharing that every year here in China, guys, just so you know, okay? Every in China, you have 10 million, almost 10 million university students, undergraduate students graduating from university. Can you imagine? 10 million. Just think about like what's the population of the people in your city, okay, in your town. Pretty sure like for some other, for some country, okay, for some European country, they don't even have like 10 million people, right? So for some universities, for some European countries, the entire country might have only 6 million people, 7 million people. And imagine every year, every single year here in China, every single year, we're having un- undergrad students graduating from their university. The number of undergrad students graduating from university is more than like the entire population of many European countries, like almost 10,000, almost 10 million, sorry, almost 10 million. Can you guys imagine that? Almost 10 million university students graduating from universities every single year. Exactly. See why you asked the really right question. Are there enough jobs? There's simply not enough jobs. So that becomes a very big social phenomenon, social problem, right? So that's why like so some is because like there are just not that many jobs, but somehow like since you are a university graduate, right, you just have a very high expectation on yourself, right? Wait, why should I just work as like I said, working the kind of job that non undergrad can do. Like I should definitely just do a job that only a university graduate can do. So then that's why like overall speaking, the kind of problems just emerge, right? So that's why I like need to lower people's expectation. So some people from early on just let them know that there are like more people in the society that do not need their parents to pay a lot of money for them to finish the university to start working, start jobs. So that's why you start to see, everything is starting to change nowadays. Yeah, yeah. So 职业学校主要是教育不好，对，我小的时候就是听说职校的风气啊，怎么样啊，什么啊，就是会和普通高中相比会稍微差一点。对，其他的其实我不是特别的了解，因为身边也没有什么朋友是职校的那些的。嗯。Every country needs construction, plumbers, electricians, etc. Exactly, exactly. Yeah, when you have become a university graduate, then somehow you just feel like, maybe I shouldn't just be a construction worker. I shouldn't just be a plumber. I shouldn't be an electrician, right? Because I am an undergrad degree student, right? I need to work in a large company as a white collar employee, right? Something like that, right? So, but still, the society needs blue collar workers, right? So somehow that is the kind of thing that is going on in here. Yeah. So, and then perhaps learning a trade can be more valuable than getting a degree. And also, you start to realize one thing, which is there are just like so many smart people out there in the society. Like there are very smart people, irrelevant of whether they are getting good education or not. Some people are very smart. So like some people, even though they're not able to get really high education, it only means that they are not able to get a good job in a very large company like Microsoft, right? Like those large investment bank. Somehow that doesn't mean that they are not able to make very big money. Okay, very good money. It's like whether you're able to make really good money really depends on whether this person has a very, very smart brain or not. Ever I since I started, since the moment I stepped out of my the investment bank, right? To be honest, back then when I work in the investment, I felt like I was surrounded with people who are just like me, right? Went to elite schools and then later I just pursued a career in large investment bank. So everyone I met back then, everyone I work with are just like really good students, were inside graduated from like really good universities, something like that. So the moment I went out of the ivory tower, right? The moment I went out of the ivory tower and really stepped back into the real society, right? So like after I returned back to Shanghai and joined a startup company, and later on I started doing startup myself, I noticed there are so many people out there who are so talented. They have never attended any elite schools. Like some people even graduate from like some people said like skilled schools, right? 职校、技校毕业、中专毕业的, right? Those people haven't really got like really proper, really high education. Somehow they were still able to think of ideas, right? And also just simply just because they have not attended those kind of elite schools, those higher education, that's the whole reason why they are so down to earth. So they're so down to earth, then they will just be able to, just find any job that can help them earn money. So they're so down to earth. They are like, "Oh, you know what? I know this is dirty work. This is the job that doesn't really require lots of skill sets, but I'm just going to do it. And I'm just going to observe all those kind of trends in the society and what are the things out there that can help me be a very excellent person, a very skillful person in doing that. And I'm just going to keep on doing that, right? So one of the very great example. 哇，谢谢阿叔给我刷了10张人机票，感谢你啊，谢谢大家。Yeah, for those people who haven't followed Ashu, can definitely follow her. She's a very interesting live streamer, English live streamer as well. Okay, yeah. So okay, continue with this topic. And guys, follow me please if you haven't done so. Okay, follow me please if you haven't done so. Okay，谢谢你吧，你感觉这个要帮我把这个人气给刷上去了，谢谢你啊，亲爱的姐妹。Yeah, and also like I was saying that, for example, right now when we're in the social media era, right? Everything is around social media. You would notice like 10 years ago, like many people already sniffed this business opportunity of doing social media account. So many people actually started their social media account very early on. So they don't need to get like university degree, right? They don't need anything. They might even get like very little education, and then somehow because they are very creative, they are able to make very funny contents, the kind of contents that people can resonate with. And then somehow they are able to attract lots of followers in no time, and then based on those kind of big amount of followers, then they can monetize on that, right? They start to sell off all sorts of products. They start to make advertisements for large brands, and they make a big fortune, right? For example, here in China, 小杨哥，所有人都知道小杨哥，对吧？Everyone knows about this a very famous KOL, the Chinese version of I Show Speed, Mr. Beast, right? The Chinese version. So they are not like those kind of people who have attended elite school education, like big universities, right? Just because of that, they have no kind of those what we say those idle burden. For example, many people similar to me and also people who are like still working those large companies, they have those kind of what we call idle burden, 偶像包袱, right? They just feel like, oh, it's so embarrassing just to start a live stream, to start a social media account, right? They somehow feel like being a KOL is like, this is not for people who are with higher education. It's still like a stereotype. It's still like a stereotype. Education is a lifelong learning process. I can't agree with you more, right? So many people are still thinking like that. I remember the other day when I was going to dinner with my other senior high school friends, right? They were talking about another girl. They didn't know that I'm right now running the social media account. I didn't share that with them. Somehow they were saying some other girl was also from our senior high school. She was also running a very good social media account with, I think, 160 or 170 followers, like pretty good, pretty decent. But the way people say that, or the people perceive that is like, oh, she's now becoming a KOL. She's an influencer. And she's doing some red note account, something like that. Like, still, the kind of perception is like that. So I was like, okay, I felt like I better not share with them. I'm becoming a KOL, the influencer myself as well, right? So somehow, like for those like very well educated people who work in like very big companies, they would feel like it's not, yeah, so good. It's not like something so good to do, right? It's not very down to earth. But if you want to make money, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to make money by being an entrepreneur, there's no way to make money if you are not down to earth enough, right? Because you have to create the stuff that can attract attention for ordinary people, right? You need to make something that ordinary people wants to buy, wants to use, right? And if you are not a person that is very down to earth, how can you able to understand the needs of those ordinary people? What's the things that they want? What are the things they would use in their daily life? What are the marketing campaigns that would make them buy in, right? Would resonate with them, right? There's no way for you to do that. So somehow there is this kind of big problems. So like for you will notice like for some people, even though they have not had lots of like higher education, but just because they're so down to earth and at the same time they have a very smart brain. So that's why they're willing to just roll up the sleeves and do all those dirty work and just start up something that doesn't seem to be very brilliant, and they're able to make lots of money. And for people who are like you said, white collar, right? White collar people, they're from elite schools, they get very good education. 呀，就是所谓的一些不体面的工作，对吧？啊，我都是名校毕业的了，你让我去当一个网红，再做这个，再做那个，大家觉得很不体面。But to be honest, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter whether you're a white collar, you're blue collar, whether it's 体面还是不体面. At the end of the day, it's all about whether you're able to build something, right? It's all about whether you're able to build something, whether you're able to earn money enough to make yourself live a better life, something like that, right? So that's what I am sharing. So I feel like it's not necessarily good or bad to not have a higher education. So for example, like I was like really reflecting a lot. So say for example, if 10 years ago, I could realize that, okay, social media is a big trend and I could start a social media account back then 10 years ago, where like everyone else is like there are nobody like me right out there doing social media account 10 years ago, but I did it 10 years ago. Just imagine, right? So it would be pretty rare to see someone who's like pretty good looking, have like really good education background, who will speak very fluent English and start a social media account to share my life, my thoughts, my opinions to people 10 years ago. If I could do that 10 years ago, then like nobody will be able to compete with me in my sub area. I'm pretty sure I will be able to gain a lot of followers at a faster speed back then. And when I have like a lot of followers, like if I can be really that down to earth back then, everything would be so different. So there were people who were doing that 10 years ago, right? They did not get very higher education, but just because they realized that, oh, this is a big opportunity, I'm just gonna grab it. I'm just gonna be very down to earth. No matter how people see me, see this job, well, no matter it is 体面 or 不体面, whatever, I'm just gonna show people who I am. What are the things, the kind of fun, the kind of joy I can bring to people, and I can attract followers. I'm just gonna do that, right? And by being very down to earth, by being a lot like that, they're able just to like make lots of fortune by doing that early on. So, well, I the kind of feeling I have right now is it's really about observing the society, and no matter what area it is, no matter who are the people doing it, just be very down to earth and just do it and do it. Yeah. So that's basically what I'm doing right now by being an entrepreneur. Yeah. 5万粉丝也很强，我也觉得是，其实挺强的。而且我只是从1月份才刚刚开始去做，我不是说已经做了很久了。有很多人他可能做了很多年才慢慢积累到5万粉，对吧？我是从今年1月底，准确来讲是2月初才刚开始做的，2月、3月、4月，对吧？现在其实才本质上才做了3个月就5万粉，我确实觉得已经是很厉害、很厉害的一件事情了。So I'm really proud of myself. Stone was saying that you're having 50,000 followers on Retinol. That is pretty awesome, right? I also consider it to be quite awesome given the fact that I was able to achieve that many followers just like 3 months of time, using 3 months of time. So many people like actually spend years to accumulate followers like that many. However, for me, I was able to accumulate 50,000 followers in on Red Note within like 3 months, a little bit over 3 months. That is pretty awesome. I feel really proud of myself. Yeah, I feel really proud of myself. And also have to thank all of you guys, to be in my live stream and to support me, right? So my goal on TikTok is to reach 20,000 followers. I think almost 20,000 followers. So like 20,000 followers on TikTok, 50,000 followers here on Rednote, and also almost 10,000 followers on Instagram. So across the platform, I think I should have almost 80,000 followers. So very soon it's gonna have over 100,000 followers. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I will never get an answer even when asking for a culture understanding. OnlyFans, what is your question? Yeah, what is your question? I'm gonna be here. Wait for your question. Okay, just send your question in. So I did not deserve to lose my angel because her parents did not approve of white U.S. men. What are you saying? You're saying like what? You're dating a girl who's Asian or black, and then her parents did not approve of white people, so that's why you cannot be together. Is that what you're saying, my friend? Don't quite understand your question. Yeah, I just followed you. Thank you, my friend Daniel. Yeah, you now have helped me. You now also made a bit of contribution of reaching this goal, helping me reach this goal of having 100,000 followers across different platforms, right? Across different platforms. That would be a really, really amazing. Yeah. That would be very amazing to have that. Yeah. So I hopefully by the end of this year, I would be able to have like over 100,000 followers on Red Note platform alone. Yeah. 活三观正，五官亮，口音纯，话题深，活该你涨粉。Stone，你这个总结的太有意思了，太可爱了，谢谢你哈，谢谢你，非常感谢你的这个鼓励和支持，真的非常感谢你的鼓励和支持。So to be honest, it's not very easy to do live stream almost every day, right? To be honest, right now, just like for example, this morning when I woke up at 7:30, actually 6:50 morning a.m. this morning, I was like, oh my god, I'm so tired. Can I skip this one more day of live streaming? You know, but I am this type of person who's very perseverant. I definitely consider myself to be a very perseverant person. So that's why I feel I'm also the type of person I don't like to disappoint others. I'm not a people pleaser, but I also don't want to disappoint people. So now, since like every day, no matter when I started a live stream, there are just so many people coming the live stream to watch me. So I feel like almost obligated to have live stream every day because I don't want to disappoint my followers, my loyal followers, who just like being here to watch me. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, OnlyFans, I'm very sorry for what happened to you. So I guess like a few suggestion to you if you really want to impress your Taiwanese friend, girlfriend, her parents, is just try to make some efforts. Okay, try to make some efforts. For example, you could do something, for example, like to please her parents by showing them that you're a very reliable person. For example, actively learning about their culture, learning Chinese every day, just talk to them, trying to learn some new Mandarin to talk to them. You know, these are all the ways you're showing them that you're genuinely in deep love with your girlfriend and you're someone worthy for their daughter to be with. Okay. Yeah. I just did. I see you following 99 people, so run it up by following me. You're so cute. Yeah, I did not know. Yeah. 工作日请保持直播，伴随我每天起床的背景音。好的，一定努力哈，Lina，一定努力要这么去做。是的，我其实之前的话是一周7天。When I first started the live stream, I actually had live stream every day, Monday to Sunday, and actually started from started from 4:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. That's when I first started. Like so long hours of live streaming, and so early, like the entire morning, right, doing it. But afterwards, I figured that it was not sustainable. Well, not so sure if you guys know to do live streaming is pretty tiring. It's really tiring. So if you have tried, just keep on talking for 2 hours. It's like really tiring. And also, live streaming is not like just talking, chit chatting with your friends, right? You don't need to use your brain, especially when we are discussing 是的，第一次看到是在东北早市，对吧？哦，你在东北早市看到我的是吗？陆晨曼谷。那看样子以后可以多做一些类似于东北早市这样的这个直播，还挺有意思的。Okay, yeah. So to have a live streaming, it actually requires my brain to function very fast. Yeah, function really fast. So like I have to just jump from topic to topic, and also because people would ask me questions, all sorts of questions and comment. So that's why I have to really think like what are the logical way to answer those questions? What are the ways to elaborate the question? What are the angles I should answer those questions so that people would find it more interesting? So it's not never just about like, hey, hello, hi, welcome. I'm lovely to follow me. Something like it's very easy, or just providing emotional kind of support. Well, even by doing that alone is pretty tiring. Not to mention that I also have to, give lots of opinions, right, and also thinkings, those kind of outputs, right, to the live stream. So it's pretty tiring. It's pretty tiring, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's a really hard work. It's really hard work. Yeah. So definitely not easy to accumulate 50,000 followers, and I'm really extremely proud of myself of able to achieve that. Yeah. 好的，Thank you，小熊树上掉金币发的这个人气票，Yeah。So that's why, like, guys, follow me, please. Okay. So for those of you who haven't followed me, definitely follow me. And it would be great if you guys can form this habit of keep on tapping the screen to sending likes. Now I feel like many people are like really loyal followers who's always in my live stream every day. So people just have this habit of tapping the screen to sending likes, when I first started live stream, people don't have this cat habit of tapping the screen to send in likes. So I need to just constantly remind people like, hey, tap the screen to send in likes, tap the screen to send in likes, something like that, right? Because the algorithm behind Red Note or behind many other platforms is that they would observe how many likes you can get and also how many people followed you and how many people joined your team and also how many people send you this yellow tickets and also how many people would send in comments in the comment area, and that is like very very important, very very important. So somehow like one of the problems with my style of live streaming is I just keep on talking and forget about interacting with people in the comment area. So there are not people, many people would come to the comment area to send in comments. So somehow that is not good for algorithm. So definitely more interaction. Okay. So that's why, like, okay, I ask my followers, like, whenever I ask you guys to interact with me, just for example, just type one. Okay. So I'm just going to do something like this in the future. Okay. Whenever I notice there are not many people interacting, I'm just going to say, okay, now I want everyone to do one thing, which is type a smiling face in the comment. Okay, everyone just type a smiley face in the comment. Okay, it's very easy. Like you don't need to think, right? Do anything. You just type whatever I ask you to type. Okay, so that may be the easier ways to ask for more interaction. Okay, so everyone just type a smiley face in the comment area if you are listening to me. Okay, that is not hard. That is very easy because if I can get more interaction, that's how I'm able to attract more people in here. Okay, so yeah, yeah, so that's okay, that's what we are going to do from time to time in the future. Okay, that's what we are going to do in the from time to time in the future, just to have more interaction like that, right? Okay, yeah. So okay, it also makes me feel a lot better to see so many smiley faces coming in. You guys are amazing. You guys are absolutely amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah. Yeah. I also noticed one interesting thing, which is like I guess many people just use this as a background video, because I remember back then there was time I did not know the rules, so I replayed my my recording on Red Note, and somehow there was one video that was having some glitches, so the the picture was frozen, right? I was basically just frozen, but somehow the voice is out, and even though there was like such a big technique problems, there are like 60 people on the line listening to me. So I was feeling like, maybe many people just put the phone as background music, like listening to me to talk without looking at the screen. But that is still fine. If you find this is quite helpful, just do it, right? Yeah. Good night. How are you? Hi, Jessica. How are you? Yeah. 全球记中国张，你做生意吗？全球记中国，听不懂是英文吗？是英文啊。那你全球寄中国，你得好好学英文啊，这样得做外国人的生意啊，才能把东西寄到中国来，是吗？还是你只做华人的生意？Yeah. How have you been today? I'm pretty good, my friend. Yeah, I have started this live stream for 2 hours, almost 2 hours. Yeah, feeling quite energetic to talk to people. So what is ASMR? What is ASMR? Don't know this abbreviation. What is ASMR? You're amazing, and we are very thankful to be you. Whenever I see people say that, like you're amazing, we are very thankful to be you. I always want to say the same thing back. Like I should be the one to feel very thankful to have all of you guys be in here, supporting me every day, listening to me every day, right? Is the reason you guys are the reason why I can just keep on doing it every single day, having this live stream, right? And if there's no one interacting with me, if there's no one who are in here listening to me to talk, then there's no way for me to keep on doing it for 3 months and to have like over 50,000 followers up to today. So you guys should be the ones that I say thank you to. So Nytrix, do you do live stream chat room which allows several seats? I did that when I first started live stream. However, somehow I experimented that. It was not so it did not work very well. Yeah. I tried it multiple times, but whenever I started a live stream that has like multiple seats, somehow the kind of traffic was just not so good. Somehow like the traffic would just drop significantly. So that's why I would no longer do that. Yeah, I would no longer do that. Yeah. Feeding is mutual. Yes, feeding is mutual. Yeah. Yeah. You have very interesting subject. Thank you, my friend. Good night, Nitrix. Good night, QPI quality products. Good to see you all as always. Like, Yeah, feeling is mutual. Exactly what you're saying. Yeah. So thank you so much, my friends, for joining my live. And for those of you who haven't followed me, definitely follow me. Okay, definitely follow me. And also, I encourage one thing. To be honest, like right now, so I think I have already passed the peak time. So when you first started a live stream, Red Note would give you lots of traffic to support you as a new content creators, a new live streamer. I probably have passed that period of time. So I could obviously feel since May, the traffic in my live stream has dropped significantly. Has dropped significantly. So it would be great if you guys on Red Note could help support me by sharing my live stream more to some other friends or other chat rooms that you know, so that more people can come in and here to just watch this live stream. Yeah. So yeah, I would also need to talk to this the official people from Red Note a bit more to see if there are other activities I can participate so that they could support this live stream more by sending more people in here. Yeah. I've been here for a few minutes and no one calls me N unlike other page. Oh yeah, Daniel, just so you know, this is a pretty so I feel like the algorithm here and because I've been doing it for a while, so the algorithm has already identified what kind of people are suitable for this live stream. So you would definitely notice that this live stream has more intelligent people, more I would say like 非常高素质, how to say it, people who are with better manner in here. So we have tried multiple times discussing all sorts of topics, and no matter what topics we discuss, people in here are genuinely interested in discussing about the topics itself. Like no curse words, no like bad words, like impolite kind of saying, attacking others. Like it's very few times you will notice that. Like very few people like that would just come to this live stream. So this is the live stream that has already filtered people, okay? So that's why yeah, that's why I say you have intellectual contents where therefore quality followers. Yeah, exactly. So I do consider my followers are pretty quality followers. So some I learned a lot from my followers as well. So that's why like sometimes I share some certain topics. I start to figure that I don't have enough knowledge on that. I just ask people here in this live stream room, and people would give me lots of knowledge and just teach me like, oh, you know what, I know about this knowledge. This is something I would love to share with you. So that's why like in this live stream, like people are all very like very well mannered, like pretty decent people in high quality kind of followers. I'm very glad that I'm able to attract people like that in here. So yeah, and people are very respectful for each other, like really good. This is a pretty good community. Yeah. So welcome Daniel for joining us. And so happy to have you in here, our new family member. And also for those of you who haven't joined my chat group in here, okay? Chat group in here on Red Note, please join it. Okay, please join it. Yeah. Mhm. 每天起床的时候昏昏沉沉的，一听直播就清醒，大脑就激活了，很好，非常棒，Lina，谢谢你哈。Okay, it's 9:30, guys, and thank you again for all of the family members for coming to the live stream today. And I have to say goodbye to you to start my whole day of working. Okay, still have a lot to do. Still have to overcome all the challenges we're facing at this entrepreneurial um, journey. So thank you again, my friends, for joining. As usual, follow me if you haven't done so. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. China time. Okay, bye bye, my friend.